The Newton-Needham Regional Chamber wants to make sure Needham is an inclusive community, especially when it comes to supporting locally owned businesses. Gretchen Cook-Anderson is a Needham resident, Needham Diversity Initiative board member, and marketing executive who advocates for diversity in education and business. We talked with her to find out why it is important to support diversity in the local economy.
Clearly, any business, in order to be successful, should be providing a quality product or service and an inclusive atmosphere and environment for their customers and their patrons and or clients. And but at the same time, I would like to encourage our community. I've really grown to love the Needham community and have lots of friends here and businesses that I enjoy patronizing. But I think on the part of the community, I think this is an ideal time, especially when you think about what's been going on in the country and the emphasis on equity and inclusion and diversity and anti-racism. I think this is an amazing time to support as many of those businesses as possible so that they can thrive in this community. There are lots of great businesses. There's French Press, owned by my friend Jay Spencer, that many people may be familiar with. He is a black. It's a black-run business, black-owned business. There's Masala Arts. I mean, there's several businesses in Needham that are owned and run by business persons of color, entrepreneurs of color. I think I really just wanted to emphasize, how much business is a driver of economic mobility, not only for entrepreneurs and business owners, but for people who are people of color and other folks who may also come from marginalized populations historically in this country. I think it's, also imperative that businesses in town look at who they're hiring, because it's also about hiring and promoting and retaining, really wonderful and talented professionals of color. And people of color in general in all kinds of businesses across the landscape here in Needham. I would hope that our business community is really looking at itself introspectively and thinking about the composition of who works at the business and who's not there. Really thinking about who you don't see at the business, and really thinking strategically about, are there ways to reach out and expand the pipeline that they're taking advantage of to bring in more folks who are staff, and whether it's kind of at a professional level staff or other. But I think that one of the things that our business owners can do in town, is really look at who they are, who makes up their business, who is part of the decision making levels of their business as well, and how diverse and inclusive are they as business owners who really do have authority and the ability to hire and the ability to promote and the ability to really be part of someone else's story with regard to their own striving for continued economic mobility. So I think that it's important that everybody has a role to play. Everybody, from residents to business owners to our educators and school officials in town. I think everybody has a role to play when it comes to making Needham the most welcoming community that we can be. What I love, I sit on the board of the Needham Diversity Initiative as well here in town, and we're all about doing whatever we can to really help foster a more inclusive community and welcoming community here in Needham. And that includes the businesses, that includes the business community. And so what I really love, I really, really love the feeling that I get in town in recent times. I love the fact that so many members of the community, including the business community, have really come together to embrace and support residents of color, to talk about issues around police brutality and profiling, and of course, I'm not just talking about here in Needham, but just broadly, even around the country and around the Commonwealth. but it's just been really great. And one thing I would like to say is that some people say that the signs, the Black Lives Matter signs, people put her in their yards and things like that. There's some people who will say that those are, just kind of a performative act. But one of the things I will say is when that performative act has action behind it too, it matters. That does count, and it feels good to me to drive my car down Webster Street or drive my car down Highland Avenue and other streets in town, and see those so many Black Lives Matter signs and other signs in people's yards, that show their support and embrace of inclusion, across various aspects of diversity. And it makes me feel like I'm living in the right place.